All right.
Hello? Testing, testing.
I can hear you loud and clear, buddy.
Okay.
So, yes, guys, this is my friend Adam, aka Minnesota Vikings fan 28.
Yes, it is.
This
Yes, it is.
is his first time on my channel, so hope you're doing well, buddy.
I'm doing well. I'm ready for this weekend. It's gonna be it's nerve-wracking, but also exciting at the same time. So
I can definitely agree with you on that. We have a lot of shocking teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Buffalo Bills, the New York Giants.
absolutely.
Got
Those
a lot of good teams in there that were surprising.
a lot of surprising teams. I mean, man, it's like you said, Jacksonville and the New York Giants who are facing. It's anything can happen. So I mean, I'm excited to see some new team. I'm always excited to see new teams in the playoffs, but also I just want to go as far as possible. So
Yeah, same. But as a Bengals fan, I hope we go far and make another Super Bowl run, and hopefully we can win it this time. There are some people out there are going with the Jaguars as an underdog favorite for the Super Bowl.
They are.
Yeah, what do you have to say about that?
I would say that they can win the against the Chargers, for example, but then they would have to face off against the whoever more than likely have to face it off against the Chiefs,
which is going to be challenging, but I think they could pull off the upset. What do you think?
They played the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been prone to, let's just say, some very close can play to their opponents. Like
true.
Best example would be against one of their another AFC South team that they played. Well, a couple AFC South teams that they played. The Texans, which they almost lost, and the Colts, which they did lose. So
the Texans, which you want to know something, Adam?
Yeah.
I thought the Texans were going to rebuild, finish somewhere around 11-6, 12-5, and maybe clinch the number 4 seed in the AFC. That's what I thought they were going to finish 12-5 and probably clinch the number 4 seed in the AFC. Yeah, but they let me down for a third straight season.
Yeah, the Texans.
But yeah, that sucks. But so the way we're gonna start off with the regular season recap first, and the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna go by division, and I want to hear your thoughts on each team. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so we are gonna start with the AFC East. First, the Buffalo Bills, who finished 13-3. What are your thoughts on the Bills?
the Bills, I mean, what else can you really say about them? They basically, my expectations for them are what they have shown right now. I knew they were already one of the top teams coming into this season, and I like what they have done both. I mean, on both
On and
sides,
off the field?
on and well. I mean, off, on and off. Well, I mean, they've had on, if we're talking on the field, like on the field, they're off. I mean, Josh Allen. The only thing with Josh Allen on the field, I was expecting him to make maybe, let's just say, less interceptions. I think that's maybe one thing I was surprised about this year. Defensively, I mean, they did lose Vaughn, so I think I think their defense maybe wasn't as good as I thought that maybe at times, but yeah. And then regarding the Bills, I think especially after one thing that we didn't expect was, of course, what happened with Damar.
Yeah, which, by the way, it's great to see that he's out of the hospital and returning home. So,
Yeah,
shout out to our buddy, Bill Safety, number 3, DeMar Hamlin. Shout out to
yes.
you, buddy.
Shout out to you, and I think I mean, he's happy for what all the love
For
and
what
support.
he does, he loves football, and so do
Mhm.
we. We all love football.
We all do. We all do.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
it would, be a great storybook ending if, just if the Bills won the Super Bowl. They are definitely one of the contending teams
Indeed.
to
They are
to
definitely one of the contending teams. And also, I've heard that your Vikings are also one of the contenders to make the Super Bowl.
Yes, we did beat said Buffalo Bills earlier in the season.
Yes. And
So yeah.
you also beat up on the Commanders, who, speaking of the Commanders, they recently fired offensive coordinator Scott Turner a few days ago.
Hmm.
And let's just say, Adam, they brought me back to their fan club. Let's just say that. All I wanted in order to come back to the Commanders fan club was to fire Scott Turner, and that's what they did. So they brought me back.
Yes.
Because I live 45 minutes away from Washington, D.C. Yeah, so it's great to be a Commanders fan again. Anyways, moving on to second place, finishing 9-8, the aquatic mammals, the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, the Miami Dolphins have they had a ride this season? Um, the Dolphins, let's just say they started out very hot, and then in the middle of the season, disaster struck, and they went on this big losing streak, and they just squeaked their way in the playoffs because they played a Jets team that was down to Joe Flacco, and couldn't really get any offensive production.
Yeah,
Uh,
and speaking of the Jets, we'll talk about them in a minute. But yeah,
yeah,
Skylar Thompson, even though he's a rookie, he has done really well for this Miami Dolphins team. I'd say he could be probably be the starting quarterback, and Tua and Teddy could be the two backups. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, Skyler has been serviceable for them. I definitely think he's been proven better than Teddy at a lot of times. My former quarterback Teddy
Yeah, which
Bridgewater.
which you still like Teddy, even though he's with the Dolphins, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's not like on the Packers or anything, so I am perfectly fine with Teddy Bridgewater on the Miami Dolphins. In regards to Tua, Tua, he had the thing with him. He's just had a lot of bad luck with concussions.
Yeah.
So,
Which
um,
our hearts and prayers right now are with Tua. Our hearts and
yeah,
prayers right now are with you, buddy. And I hopefully you recover soon so you can be back for probably next season. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we hope you can be back soon, and we wish you a speedy recovery too. Our hearts and prayers are with you, buddy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Uh,
and next up at third, finishing 8 and 9, the New England Patriots.
hmm. New England Patriots is a very. I didn't know what to expect from the Patriots going into this season. Of course, you have the mighty Bill Belichick, but last year they made the playoffs.
And got
This
demolished by the Bills.
Yes, they did. They got demolished by the Buffalo Bills, and if they would have beat the Bills, they would have had to go back to Buffalo. Well, no, they would not have had to go back to Buffalo because Bengals would have taken the second. But yeah, they got demolished by. I mean, well, they got beat by the Buffalo Bills in the last week. The Patriots. What can I say? I'm just trying to think. I mean, they have had a what I've known. Their offense they wasn't really that much a talk of town. It was more their defense kept them in games a lot of the time. I mean, when we played them, we made Mac Jones look very good. Um, but but what really prevented them from making the playoffs. I could just sum it up in one play, and that would be that ending that final play against the Raiders. And
Yeah,
they they I don't know. Mac Jones has looked. I can't. As I mean, he's shown there's some flashes. There's some flashes here and
yeah,
there.
he's definitely shown some really good talent this season. I will give him credit for that.
That I mean, he almost came back against your Bengals. So
Nearly came back against the Bengals, yeah. So,
yeah,
but thankfully we were able to beat them. So,
yeah, they fumbled right when they were gonna try to take the lead. So like they've had some costly turnovers in games, and that's just something that really
facts. But
prevented them. I don't.
yeah, definitely did. And finally, fourth, 7 and 10, the New York Jets, who I thought were going to be so good this season to make the playoffs. Don't you think?
I thought the Jets were gonna be good. I really thought the Jets were gonna be a team to make it. I mean, to possibly make it. I thought they were gonna be so much better than what they were. Um, but I, but I guess Zach Wilson just proved that he is not the guy. They and Mike White is is significantly better than Zach Wilson. I think Zach uh, is going to be is going to be gone after this season. I'm not sure if they're going to draft anyone else. Um, but yeah, I mean the Jets defense is what really at least always kept them in it. Sauce Gardner, one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the Jets, um, while they while they still need to find their way offensively, I think they have a very one of the best defenses um, in the NFL. So they can find that guy, whether they do stick with Mike White or do draft another quarterback, or get one in free agency. I think the Jets have a promising future, even though they came up just short.
Yeah, they came up just a little bit short. I can agree with you on that. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for the AFC East. So now we move to the AFC West. First, the Kansas City Chiefs,
Ooh.
14 and 3.
Mm. Kansas City, what can you say about them? What can't you say about them? Kansas City, after they traded Tyreek Hill, I mean, we didn't know how the Chiefs were going to look after losing one of their best weapons. But Patrick Mahomes, proving time again, doesn't matter who's on the field, he's going to make some Mahomes magic happen. I mean, he still has Travis Kelce, who is a reliable target, and you have all these other playmakers on offense just filling in for that role. You had whether it's Jerick McKinnon, whether it's even Juju Smith-Schuster sometimes, or who's our other running back? Pacheco. I
Yeah,
think
that's his name, Pacheco.
that's his name.
That's his name. Yeah. He was really good in that Raiders game. I actually watched that game, and he was really good at that game against Captain Fiddleplay and the Raiders.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Captain Fiddleplay was one of my favorite characters in Tom Grossi's reactions last season. His voice was really good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely. One of my
so
favorites.
yeah, shout out to Captain Oakley, and I hope he's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I will get to his Raiders in a moment, but
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, the Chiefs, typical Chiefs, but finishing in second, shocking, the LA Chargers 10-7.
LA Chargers. Brandon Staley, you actually did not choke this time, and you made the playoffs. Chargers. I'm I'm trying to think of what I want to say about the Chargers. The Chargers have been, I mean, have proven that. I mean, they got over. I don't know. They just got over this hump that they couldn't get over last year. They won a lot of close games this season. They Justin Herbert
Yeah,
looking very,
Justin
very good.
Herbert, man, he is good.
He is very good, and you got an
He's
Austin Eckler making also a big
Yeah,
difference.
Austin Eckler is a beast. As Scooter Gruner would say, Austin Eckler is a grown man,
He is
as
a
Scooter
grown man.
Magruder would say.
Austin Eckler is one of the best running backs in the National Football League this year, and
Definitely. He is definitely proven to be unstoppable. He can definitely run that ball well.
he can definitely run that ball well, and it helps when you also. I mean, he is good whether just running or in the passing game. I mean, you also have other and that's with other weapons like Keenan Allen or Mike Williams.
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, yeah, those two are really good. They can catch that ball really good.
Yes, they can. And when their when their defense is playing good as well, I mean they can be a sneaky team. They can really be a sneaky team. So if they really are playing like all together, playing all them good. I think they could possibly make a run, but we'll see.
Yeah. And next up at third, 6-11, the Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders. Ugh. Raiders. I mean, a little disappointing this season. You get Devontae Adams. You're hoping for that.
Yeah,
Matt.
they got Devontae Adams from the Packers, which I'm sure you were really happy he left Green Bay.
Very excited he left Green Bay. And I was
Yeah,
thinking,
because he was running all over your Vikings when he was with the Packers.
absolutely, it's just the one guy we couldn't stop, and happy that he was gone in a way, going to his former college. It was I think college quarterback, Derek Carr.
Yeah,
They were, and they you're you're hoping that that they were on going to be more. I don't know. I mean, they
more
had
consistent.
more consistent. Yes, thank you. Like the Raiders, I don't know what it was. I mean, you could say it was because of coaching and Josh McDaniels. I mean, that was definitely a big part in that.
Yeah,
But it's just if they their defense also at times, a lot of times weren't good. They always, a lot of times they came up very close, but then they couldn't finish it off.
Yeah.
And I mean, what can you say? I mean, you lose like to Jeff Saturday and the Colts. You lose like some very close game. You lose some close games. I remember that when they had a lead against the Chiefs and then they blew it, and
Yeah, they
then
choked.
they choked. I think the biggest thing with the Raiders is just they had they were always very close, but they just couldn't finish off a lot of games, which got them to the record, which they were one. If the offense was clicking, the defense would be bad. If the defense was good, the offense wasn't
Yeah, true.
good. So
Yeah. And finally, the Denver Broncos 5-12.
oh yes, they were very the Broncos. Oh, a lot of hype around the Denver Broncos and Mr. Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah. Mr.
But
Let Russ cook.
yeah, let Russ cook, but he turned out to be more limited toward I mean for the Broncos. I mean,
Yeah.
you got that and you got
Nathaniel Hackett, who is no longer on the team.
yeah, that was bad coaching. It was just offensively, that was by far one of the worst offenses I saw. I've seen this year or even like ever. They just couldn't. They had one of the best defenses in the NFL, but yet all the offense had to do was just put up enough points. But the defense, I mean, the offense at points, at a lot of points, they couldn't find their groove. They couldn't get the ball out. They just couldn't move the ball. And then like at the end of the season, when they were, especially when they're out, they're just like, and the defense just like let go.
Yeah, it pretty much let go on them. Like, I thought the Broncos were maybe going to be like a dangerous team and probably a potential playoff contender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. But guess we were both wrong there.
Absolutely.
Anyways, now it's time for the AFC North. Coming in at first, Kitty goes meow. Cincinnati Bengals 12-4. As Tom Grassi would say it with me, Adam. Kitty
Kitty
goes
goes
meow.
meow. Yes,
Exactly.
Kitty goes meow. Absolutely. This is one of my the most exciting teams I have going into the postseason. I think the Bengals definitely can go to the Super Bowl. You got Joey B, you got Mixon, you got Jamar Chase, T
T.
Higgins.
Higgins. You got one of the best defenders in the league, my man Trey Hendrickson. He is a
Trey
beast.
Trey Henderson. You got a very solid. You got a solid. You just got a solid team all around. Even like your kicker Evan McPherson.
Yeah, Evan McPherson, shooter.
Mm-hmm. So this team has proven they can compete with some of the top dogs, like the Chiefs. I mean,
Like the Chiefs.
Chiefs and the Bills. Even though yes, it was a small sample size, I do think you guys.
Yeah, the Chiefs, the Bills.
Mm-hmm. I think just anybody to be in general. I think
other top teams did they play this season?
I mean, those two were the ones that came to mind. I mean, they played against. What are we considering top teams? I mean, they played against. Let me look. They played against the Cowboys like early on in the season.
Yeah.
That was like week 2, and the Bengals didn't really find it yet. I mean, they did lose, but that was like week 2, so I'm not gonna put that against them. Let me see. There's not really many other teams because, like, I don't think, and I know we're gonna get to this team in just a bit, but the Ravens. I mean, you played one game against them with Lamar Jackson. You did end up that first one lose that one, but
Yeah, which was kind of rough, but in the final game we were able to rebound and pull off a W and clinch the
absolutely,
number 3 seed, which I was fine with the number 3 seed, honestly.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's just you get. I mean, you win the division, so
For a second
and
straight season.
for a second straight season. So I think the Bengals. I mean, they're gonna. I think. I mean, they definitely can make a run. They're one of the teams who could win it, who could win it all. So I mean, just be careful, NFL. The kitty is gonna go meow.
Indeed. The kitty will definitely go meow. And coming in at second, the Baltimore Ravens, finishing a solid 10-7.
Yeah, solid 10-7 for the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, they had they sorry. A lot of their games were fairly close this season. I remember they in some of their games, whether it was against like the Dolphins, the Giants, the Bills, those games, they had a lot of close losses this season. But they did when they needed to get the wins. They had more of an easier schedule this year because they were fourth place they were last place last year, so they had a little easier schedule this year. But the Ravens, when they have Lamar, it's a different dynamic to their team than without Lamar.
Yeah.
So, like lately, the Ravens, they really have had to rely on their defense, which is, I think it's a good defense. It can be a good defense at most times. I just don't know what how the Ravens are going to be without Lamar, since I believe he is going to be out.
Yes, he will be out for the game against the kitty goes meow Cincinnati Bengals.
Right. So,
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good game on Sunday night. So
oh, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
and next up, finishing third, 9-8, surprising 9-8, urinating trees, bets bag Steelers.
Yes, Steelers. Yay! Just missed the chance to go to Super Bowl.
Just missed the chance to got a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they just missed it because the Miami Dolphins got that
Yeah,
ugly win against the Jets.
yeah,
But yeah, it'd been fun to see the Steelers make the playoffs. But Mike Tomlin, once again for the I want to say I don't know how many straight seasons it's now been, but at least a dozen or so. But
at
he has
least a
never had
dozen.
a losing record. Never a losing record. And Steelers looked basically similar to, like, I would say, if the Packers, in which they started out very slow and slowly but surely through the power. I mean, they building some
Yeah,
momentum with some wins. They A lot of them very ugly wins. I mean, they're just similar to like the Ravens. How I've
yeah,
said
pretty much.
their defense is very good, one of the best. You have T.J. Watt, and
TJ Watt.
yeah, Watt, yeah, and their offense with Kenny Pickett, who is, I mean, he's
Yeah,
looked
and his backup, which is Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch
What are your
Trubisky.
thoughts on Trubisky?
It's you know Trubisky started off the season
Yeah, he started
and
off in the season opener.
in the season opener, and I think I don't know how many games he played, but
Yeah,
like
but he was not that bad.
he was not that bad. I mean, not really that much. I don't know. I wouldn't. Here's what I say. I would say not too much difference as of right now.
Yeah,
Kenny Pickett,
especially when Trubisky was with the Bears.
the Bears, yeah. So almost like in a Mr. Trubisky was used to that situation because the Bears, at least back then, had a good defense but not a great offense. And now he goes to the Steelers, he moved similar thing. Not the best of offenses, except maybe Najee Harris.
Najee Harris was pretty good this season. He was pretty good.
Yes, Najee Harris was their bright spot on offense, and also George Pickens at times.
Yeah, George Pickens.
So I think the Steelers. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I guess at this point, because of Mike Tomlin's winning record streak, that the Steelers might have another winning record next season. But we'll have to see. I mean, if they can just get some more offensive, if they can just improve that offense in any way, I think next year they can maybe make on the next step and maybe get a wild card.
Probably, yeah. And finally, wrapping up the AFC North, finishing fourth, 7-10, the Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns. Yes. Let me think. The Cleveland Browns. The Browns. They going into the season, Jacoby Brissett started for the Browns, and nobody had any expectations for the Browns. I think Jacoby Brissett at the start of the season looked better than what people thought he was going to be. Definitely proved
a lot of doubters wrong.
Proved a lot of doubters wrong. The Browns and Nick Chubb had, they did their best, try to do their best. I mean,
but here's the thing: when they had Deshaun Watson, it just went downhill.
Oh, it went downhill for sure.
It went downhill faster than a speeding bullet.
Yeah, I think when Watts, I don't know if this is really a hot take, but Jacoby Brissett played better than Deshaun Watson.
Facts. I can agree. Brissett was definitely better than Watson. I can say that much. Like, Brissett has definitely done well this season for the Browns, and if he would have been the starting quarterback for the whole season, I think the Browns would have had a better record.
They would have had a better record. Maybe they squeak into the postseason.
Probably over Miami.
Over Miami, maybe. I mean,
maybe. Probably. But
yeah, but they just
we'll just see. We'll just have to see how
their future.
We'll just have to see how the offseason goes for the Browns. And finally, in the AFC, wrapping it up with the South. First, the Jacksonville Jaguars, 9-8.
Who could have seen this coming? I mean,
obviously, I did not see this coming, but Duval,
yes. I think the Jaguars are. I mean, they've proven a lot of people wrong this season. I feel like at the start of the season, a lot of people were either maybe saying the Titans or maybe even the Colts or whatever. No one really thought the Jaguars were contenders. This was Doug Peterson's first year as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. So I think I think they were just thinking this would be another part of their rebuilding.
And it definitely was.
Definitely was, for sure. I mean, they they started out not that good, and then sometime in the middle of the season, Jacksonville found a spark, and they and Trevor Lawrence has looked fairly well. I mean, you sweep your division rival in the Titans. You beat the Cowboys. I mean, you get these you get these good wins going. I feel like this is the time when you need to get hot is toward late in the season,
And
and
that's exactly what they did.
that's exactly what they did to make this playoff push. And I feel like they're finding themselves now. They're I mean I think this Trevor Lawrence is it's paying off now. They have their franchise quarterback,
Yeah,
and their defense. I mean, you know, when they
definitely.
when they're on, they can be on. They have some flashes at some points. So
That is true. And this is their fourth AFC South title win in franchise history.
exactly. Last time was in 2017.
Yeah,
I remember.
so it's been a little over 5 years.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
it's
yeah, and they I and this is the same record I predicted them to be. And I predicted them to be the champions of their division. So I got that right.
mm, yes.
Surprising. And next up, second place, the Tennessee Titans, 7-10.
Man,
Titans. What the
Titans.
heck are y'all doing? You're supposed to be good.
I remember like I remember the game they beat the Green Bay Packers. They were 7-3, and now they're 7-10. Literally,
Yeah,
you could have probably just won another game or two, and you would have been in the playoffs. They were the talk of the town early on in the
yeah.
season, racking up
They
wins.
just completely collapsed.
Yeah, that was a collapse. It all started after the Packer game when they faced your Bengals, and
Mm-hmm.
they went on this huge losing streak. I mean, they lose, and then you lose to teams. You lose to like the Texans, for example. That I mean,
Yeah,
who
which
knows that
I'm still not gonna get over. They lost to the
they
Texans
lost to the
and
Texans
Davis Mills.
and Davis Mills. I
Which we'll
mean,
get to the Texans in a minute. But the Titans, man,
yeah, I mean, the Texans. I mean, the Titans. I mean, what can I don't know what to say about them. I mean, I mean, all they really had was Derrick Henry after they traded AJ Brown last year.
yeah, to the Philadelphia Eagles.
So and then Ryan
Yeah,
Tannehill gets hurt. You have to put in Josh Dobbs, who
which I'm not gonna lie, Joshua Dobbs, he's decent, he's
he's
solid.
decent. He's solid. I mean, he did make. I feel like if he didn't make some some mistakes in that final game against Jacksonville. I mean, they could have maybe. I mean, they had the lead for a while in that last game. It's just like
Yeah,
costly turnovers just cost them
yeah,
in that
those
final
turnovers
game.
pretty much cost them. Yeah,
So I
and exactly. And coming in at third, the Indianapolis Colts, 4-12-1.
wow. Well, let's just say with the Colts, I I, I actually had some expectations for the Colts, and
So did
I
I.
I loved going into this John with like Matt Ryan. I knew wasn't like one of the top quarterbacks, but it was better than what they. I felt like this was gonna be better than what they had in the past. I feel like maybe
Better than Carson Wentz,
Carson Wentz for sure.
who's
So
currently with Washington.
yes. So I thought the Colts were gonna maybe make a run for the division this year. Um, but when you start off your season with a tie against the Texans, you already know that this is not going to be um, good. I mean, they had some weird wins, whether it was against the Chiefs, which I'm still shocked about. Like they
Yeah,
and then you win an ugly game against the Broncos, for example.
Yeah,
But
which had no touchdowns, only field goals. And you know what they sometimes say, games can come down to just field goals. That game against the Broncos came down to just field goals. And honestly, I didn't mind it.
I know. I mean, it was. It was.
It-
I mean, at that point for me, it was like it was fun. It was just entertaining to
yeah,
to
that was
see.
definitely an entertaining game, just field goals. That was definitely fun.
Yeah. But the Colts, I, 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 I'm trying to find some words right now. I mean, in the middle of the season, they fire Frank Reich. They put in Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday wins. Um, one game against the Raiders, and then they go down, and then they go downhill.
They go
And
downhill. Yeah.
the I don't even know. I mean, Matt
And
Ryan's not. Oh, I almost forgot about. And not only did they go downhill, but in that process of going downhill, they succumbed to they get the largest comeback in NFL history.
oh, yeah, against your purple incarnations of Satan, the
Yes,
Minnesota
Minnesota
Vikings, which we
Vikings.
will get to them soon.
Yes, the Colts, just rough. I just say
Yeah.
it's just rough all the way around. They're
It
gonna need to find a quarterback. They basically need a lot
yeah, they're
right
definitely
now.
gonna need to find a quarterback like that guy from TCU, Max Duggan.
Mm, who
Yeah, so I
knows?
think I think he would definitely fit the Colts well. Probably be better than Wentz and Matt Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And finally, the Houston Texans 3-13-1.
Oh, Texans. Typical Tex. I feel like at this point, Texans going in. That I thought Davis Mills. There could be a possibility that he might be might be the guy. Because I remember he did have some flashes last year, but the
Yeah, he
Texans
definitely had some flashes last season, but he just did not
this
show up at
season
all.
did not show up at all this season. And not only they did so bad that they couldn't even get the number one pick because in the final game of the season against the Colts, we
Which
just
they
talked
picked up
about,
a W.
they picked up a W. Lovie Smith was like,
He was
no,
fired.
if I'm since I know I'm probably going to get fired, I'm going to get this win and help out my former team that I coached, the Bears, um, and give them the number one draft pick. So the Texans, I mean, they got their wins were against. I remember the Titans, which were saying were funny. The Colts, and
Yeah.
then I don't remember that other game that they won. That was probably against another AFC South. Jaguars. Okay,
Yeah, it was
the earlier season, early in the season when the Jaguars were still.
so you could say the Texans beat all three of their division rivals.
They absolutely that's the only thing. That's the thing. They know how to play against their division rivals, but
Yeah,
outside of
so
that,
yeah. So
absolutely
you
are
could basically the Texans you could basically say they swept the AFC South. Let's just say it like that.
yeah. You could, in a way, you could possibly used to say that. And their one tie was against the Colts as well. So
Yeah.
you
So
know,
yeah.
the Texans just tear it all down and just
Yeah.
build
Now let's get to the NFC, shall we?
NFC. Okay.
First up, the East. Coming in at first, the
Mhm.
Philadelphia Eagles 14-3.
Eagles. What can I? The Eagles are just Jalen Hurts is when he is playing, which luckily he is now.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. When they got
Mhm.
AJ Brown in that draft, Tom Grossi's reaction was just priceless. His
Absolutely.
reaction was priceless, and that was kind of the same reaction I had with Tom. His reaction was so priceless.
Just shocking that the Titans would
Yeah,
do that. The Eagles with AJ Brown, with Jalen Hurts, I mean, and also other off like Miles Sanders.
yeah. Miles Sanders is a beast.
Yes, is a beast. I mean, the run game, whether you are run, you're fit, you give either fake it to Sanders and Hurts runs it or whatever, or
Yeah,
even in the passing game as well. Their offense can be absolutely
yeah.
unstoppable. I mean, they absolutely torched my Vikings on week 2 Monday Night Football.
And I'm sure you're still
But
not gonna
yeah,
get over that.
yeah, I'm not gonna really get. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm sort of. It's gonna be hard to get over it. I'm more, if anything, I'm more about what happened 5 years ago to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. That's
Oh yeah,
more what I little can't get over.
yeah.
Just be
That year, you
yeah.
guys almost made a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, Super Bowl run in our own stadium. We would have been the first team to go to the Super Bowl in our own stadium.
Yeah,
Uh,
but it was actually Tampa Bay.
it was Tampa Bay. Yeah, some years later, not too many years later, the Buccaneers did that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
the Eagles are gonna. I mean, number one, they're the number one seed for the reason. So they're good offensively, defensively. I mean,
yeah, it's just good all around.
it's good all around for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Definitely. And next, coming in second, finishing at 12-5, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oof, Cowboys. The
Yeah,
record is maybe a slightly at some points can be slightly deceiving, maybe just because of how they played as of late. But
yeah,
12-5 is still a solid record. They
yeah.
had a very solid season.
And as Scooter Magruder would say, how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? Those Cowboys are definitely they they are that they have the highest of highs and they can have the lowest of lows. Their
Yeah,
highest of
it's
highs is when they blew us out, and then like their lowest of lows, I would probably even say last week against they got blown out by Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders.
yes. I'm never gonna get over the fact that we blew out the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I am I am never gonna get over the fact that we absolutely blew them out. And Sam Howell was really good, which we'll get to the Commanders in a minute. But yeah, the Cowboys, solid record, solid season. They had their ups and downs here and there, week in, week out, and
mm-hmm.
they just had a good season.
They had a good season. They had a very good season. I mean, 12-5 could sometimes can maybe. I mean, like but they just the Eagles were always right there. They just couldn't catch up with the Eagles,
Yeah.
so they claimed that top wild card spot at out of the wild card teams.
At least they're
And
not playing the 49ers again.
oh, they're not playing the 49ers again now. I mean, this time, so that's a good thing for them. But maybe later down the road, they might have to face the Niners if
True.
if the Cowboys go far, if the Cowboys go far in the playoffs. But
Yeah.
right now, the Cowboys are looking. I mean, are looking okay. There is a lot. I still think there is a little concern just because of how they've just played these last couple games. I mean, they beat the Titans, but they didn't. I don't know.
They lost to the Jags.
They lost the Jags. Like, yeah, they played a close game to they almost lost to the Texans.
Yeah, but I actually picked Houston to win that game over Dallas, and they nearly pulled it out. They nearly pulled it out.
I know they nearly pulled it out. Uh, I just, I don't know what Cowboys team we're gonna see. So I think yeah, we'll see how far they can go. Their defense is is basically Micah Parsons.
Yeah, their defense, Micah Parsons, man, he is a beast. A grown man.
Yeah, definitely one of the few players up for
Indeed.
Defensive Player of the Year. And yeah, and Dak, I mean, we'll see. I mean, last week, these last couple weeks, maybe not so good, but then and then he can have some good
Yeah,
games as well.
and they got their backup, Cooper Rush, who has done really well this season
Yes,
at backup for Dak.
and they got the 1-2 punch at running back in Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. So
Yeah, Tony Pollard and Zeke.
mhm.
Yeah. Next up, finishing at third, 9-7-1, the New York Giants.
All I can say is I'm shocked.
Yeah,
The Giants,
I am pretty speechless.
they out. I mean, they exceeded expectations. They went out there, and no one had. I feel like from a lot of people's perspective, had no hope that no expectations for the New York Giants.
Yeah,
They got Brian Dable, who
Brian Dable, who has done really well this
was
season as the head coach of the Giants.
yes, and he had. I mean, they looked pretty good at times. In some ways, I would sort of compare them to the Vikings in some ways because like they can pull out these close wins.
Yeah,
Off
true. They had the
like the
highest of
Vikings.
highs, and they had their ups and downs here. They were kind of like Dallas did.
They're kind of like Dallas did, absolutely, and they've
True.
played. I mean, they've had some good wins, whether it was against the Ravens, whether it's against like that first week against the Titans. I remember the Dable going for 2. I mean, he is a very gutsy coach. I mean,
Yeah.
they beat the Packers.
Yeah, that game in London.
Yeah, I mean, and I like the seeing Saquon emerge again, because I know we haven't really, I mean, we're
Yeah,
wondering where's Saquon now. Saquon is uh
yeah.
came alive again, and he has looked pretty well for the Giants and definitely a big part of their offense. And Daniel Jones is taking some good steps in the right directions.
He definitely has. Along with one of their rookie players, Daniel Bellinger, I think is his name.
Yes, absolutely.
What position does he play? I forgot.
Bellinger.
I think it's tight end.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, he's a tight end?
He's a tight end.
He's definitely been a great rookie tight end this season for the Giants. Like, he can definitely catch that ball really good. When Daniel Jones just like throws it to him, he can definitely catch that ball good.
Yeah, when he throws, I mean, Daniel Jones, I think even sometimes I've seen him use his legs sometimes, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, he can definitely run that ball good.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
So, yeah, the Giants, I mean, will they make a deep run? I don't. I think they're just happy that they're here and that they made the playoffs. And however far they go, will be fine with them. In my opinion,
Exactly.
but
Definitely.
this was their first year of like with the new head coach and your rebuild. Like I feel like just making the playoffs as your first year as a head coach is something to be
And
accomplished.
I feel like they could be a future threat going forward with their head coach, don't you think?
Absolutely, they can be a future threat for sure, and I
Yeah, kind of like the Eagles were this season.
Yes.
Yes,
They
and finally, 7-7-1, my Washington Commanders. Oh man, what a season we had!
Commanders
8-1.
I mean, 8-1. Not a bad season.
Yeah, we
For
actually didn't
the
have a bad season. We have Rivervolt Ron Rivera, who's definitely a good head coach. he definitely was good. And like I mentioned earlier, a few days ago, we fired head coach Scott Turner, which was definitely a good move. So,
Hmm.
yeah, and we got guys like Antonio Gibson, Benjamin St. Juice on that defense, Montez Sweat, Chase Young. We got all those guys. And our O line, Antonio Gibson, our tight end, Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin, our rookie wide receiver, Jahan Dotson, who did really well. Yeah.
I
So,
love
what are your thoughts on the Commanders this season?
Commanders. Again, like the Giants exceeded my expectations. I wasn't a at the start of the season. I wasn't a fan of the Carson Wentz trade, to be honest. But especially of how he did in Indy. But I mean, uh, I don't know. Maybe this is just my opinion. I liked Heineke better, but
Yeah,
him
Heineke
or
was good here and there.
Heineke was good here and there. I liked the connect. I liked seeing the how the those players. You said Dotson, or was it McLaurin,
Dotson,
or you know
McLaurin, Logan Thomas, Gibson. Yeah, those guys were good for us
Curtis
on the O line.
Samuel.
Oh yeah, Curtis
Yeah, they all.
Samuel. He was definitely good.
I can't forget about Curtis Samuel. I remember that one catch where he made against us when the referee. Sorry, the referee ran into one of our safeties, and
Oh, what was his name? That the
safe.
player got ran into for the
Yeah,
Vikings.
the Vikings player was Cam Bynum. Cameron
Oh
Bynum.
yeah, him. He was definitely good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
but
yeah. So.
overall for my Commanders this season, really good. Even though we ended up
Mm,
with a tie, I think we could be better next season. We could be a future threat with Rivervolt Ron.
yeah,
Probably.
I
Yeah,
we'll see what
definitely.
the Commanders' future holds. I mean, if the yeah,
Yeah. And now we move on to the West. Coming in at first, the San Francisco 49ers, 13-4.
oh my goodness, 10-game win streak for the San Francisco 49ers. I think it is.
Yeah,
Um,
10 games.
win streak. Yeah,
They
I
started out 3-4 and they've won their last 10 straight games
they
with
are
Brock with Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. I am scared of this team by far. I feel like they are one of the scariest teams in the NFL. They have the run game with Christian McCaffrey now. That trade helped a lot.
Yeah, that trade helped out with CMC, as Tom Grossi calls him. CMC, Christian McCaffrey.
CMC,
Yeah, that definitely helped out San
CMC,
Fran a
yes. I
lot.
mean, the defense is one of the best in the NFL. Nick Bosa,
Yeah.
like Michael Parsons, up there for Defensive Player of the
Nick
Year. The
yeah,
defense
Nick Bosa and their O line, George Kittle. He was definitely really well for San
George
Fran.
Kittle, us, and whether it's blocking or cat in the passing game. I mean, this team can do it all. They don't really have to be too flashy. They're. I
Yeah.
mean, they really. I mean, if you now to stop. I mean, really, the really one way to really stop the Niners is get them out of their groove, and you would have to stop their run game. We like to rely on that run game and then not and try not and just do some not too fancy pass plays with Purdy. I mean, whether it was Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, I feel like you can put anyone in there
Yeah,
as
definitely.
quarterback.
But
They got the
indeed,
system that they need to
they definitely have the system they need for sure, and I feel like they can make a Super Bowl run like they did in 2020.
absolutely. I 100% agree with you on that part.
Definitely. Next up, coming in at second place, finishing 9-8, the Seattle Seahawks.
The Seahawks. Wow.
Yeah, the Seahawks, man. In my opinion,
This
they definitely did well. They finished solid, 9-8, made the playoffs. knocking out the Lions, which I really wanted to see the Lions make it.
That's why I was going like, well, here's like I'm happy for Geno Smith. It was a good story to see Geno Smith, come back. Everyone thinking he's washed up and all that, and he actually proved the
He
haters
definitely
wrong.
proved a lot of doubters wrong this season. Like, he can run the ball. He can do pretty much anything, whether it's throwing or running the ball.
Absolutely. And no offense, he has the weapons to do it. He has Metcalf, he has
Lockett,
and he has a great running back in Kenneth Walker. So I think the Seahawks, I feel like their downfall, in terms of whether or not they can even make a if they can make a push or not, is
definitely
their defense. Their defense.
That is 100% true there, Adam. I feel like their O-line is good, but their defense has a little bit of iffy issues here and there.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Definitely.
I still wish it was Lions, but
yeah, but it is what it is. Coming in third, 5-12, the defending champs, LA Rams.
Oof.
Major oof.
They were the Super Bowl champions, and they not only had a Super Bowl slump, but it was almost like a Super Bowl tank.
It definitely was a Super Bowl tank for sure. And excuse me, I'm just gonna plug my headphones back in.
Everything that could go, I felt went wrong. Stafford went down. It's just everything just it just took a dive. I guess that's what happens when you go all in. You go all in, and in one season, it's just like everything was like this. Offensively, wasn't really that productive. I remember, especially early on. I remember like Stafford. Especially when he was playing during the season, didn't have a lot of time to throw.
Definitely,
O-line didn't look as good as last season. Defense, was okay was okay at times, but I don't know. The Rams, they just I don't know. They just didn't look that competitive.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that. And finally, finishing fourth, 4-13, the Red Sea of Birds, the Arizona Cardinals, who fired their head coach recently. What was his name?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. They fired him recently, not too long ago.
Cardinals should have.
Kind of like the Rams.
Kind of like the Rams in a way. They also, like the Cardinals, made the playoffs, and they had a slump of their own. Kyler Murray looked
Murray,
and you have Murray, you have Hopkins.
Yeah, you also have that guy on defense, JJ Watt, who is who announced his retirement. So JJ Watt, we wish you the best future with you and your family, JJ Watt. Thank you for all the great memories you've given us with the Texans and the Cardinals. Thank you, JJ. We'll miss you. Wish you the best of future with your family, JJ Watt.
Absolutely, and I hope the Texans, I hope the Texans retire his number.
That would be a nice way to honor JJ Watt and the Cardinals too.
And the Cardinals too.
Definitely.
The Cardinals. What can I say? I feel like maybe Kyler Murray playing a little too. Maybe sometimes felt like maybe he's playing too much Call of Duty out there.
I see what you did there. You got that reference from Tom, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness. I can agree with you on that. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the NFC North. Coming in first, The NFC North champs, 13-4. Adam's team, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, NFC North champions. That's the hat that's being worn right now. 13-4 Minnesota Vikings. It wasn't pretty a lot of time, but the Vikings did it. 11 of those 13 victories came at one score as a one-score victory. A lot of one-score victories this year,
Especially against the Bills.
The Bills was the big game. We proved this year that we can compete with the top teams at times. Of course, there were other times where we did get blown out, whether it was the Eagles or Cowboys game. But the Vikings have proven that they are one of the better teams in the NFL. They know how to come back, whether it was that Colts game or that Bills game. They have a lot of fight with the first-year head coach and Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell, man, he definitely did well for your team as a head coach. So I feel like you guys should keep him for a couple more years.
Oh, we're gonna hopefully keep him for as long as we can at this point.
That is 100% true.
Make a deep run. Hopefully, I'm really.
I know you're really hoping for a big Super Bowl run.
I know. I'm really hoping for that.
Yeah, well, definitely. I actually got your Vikings as a dark horse Super Bowl champion this year. Yeah, buddy.
Great.
Yeah, buddy.
I would love to see it. Jefferson and
Dalvin Cook. My former QB, Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
I will never forget the memories you have had with my Commanders, and I hope you win a Super Bowl. It would mean a lot to me if you did.
Absolutely.
Coming in second, finishing 9-8, the Detroit Lions.
Who should have been the 7th seed, but
they should have been there.
But just came up just short. The Lions.
Yeah, it's because of that Seahawks win.
Yeah, that Seahawks win in that last week. The Seahawks barely scraped a win against the
Rams,
the lowly Rams, which I don't know how you just scrape past them and not blow them out. But
yeah,
the Lions, they ended their season on a high note.
Definitely 9-8 is not too bad. That's pretty decent. They got guys like Aiden Hutchinson, and as Tom Grossi calls him, J Swag Daddy. Who is that?
J Swag Daddy. Breaking Barry Sanders all time.
Exactly. And who is J Swag Daddy?
Jamal Williams.
Exactly. Jamal fracking Williams. He did really well for the Lions. And so did the man Aiden Hutchinson. He was a beast all season for the Lions on that D-line.
Yes, definitely one of the contenders to be
for defensive player of the year.
Defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, definitely. Coming in at third, I know you're happy about this, Adam. 8-9, the Green Bay Packers. I know you're happy about that.
Yes. Thank you, Detroit. Even though you had nothing to play for in that final game after Seattle won, you took out the 8-9 Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers did all this talk. Packers winning the North, or all of that. They're gonna go to the Super Bowl, even though they lost Devontae Adams. But
guess what?
The same old Packers. No,
it was not like that this season. No. It was the Vikings' time.
It was the Vikings' time to shine. The Packers just went on this slide down, whether it was losses to
the Jets, which shout out to the Jets, by the way. Thank you for beating Green Bay, New York. And so did the Giants. Both New York teams beat the Packers. Thank you, Jets and Giants.
And they lost to who?
My Commanders.
They lost to Washington. I absolutely love that. And they lose to
You're welcome. You're welcome that we beat Green Bay. You're welcome.
and they lost to Tennessee. That was Tennessee's last win. And then they got some false hope after they went on the late game winning streak. And then
hold on, I'll be right back, Adam.
Okay. When to try to beat them. So
All right, I'm back. Anyways, continuing with the talk of Green Bay.